Hello and welcome back to my channel. This is Miss Murdoku and today we're going to play a messy situation. So this is a hard level and it's a 9 by 9 grid with 9 suspects. So we have a general clue and it says there was no empty area. Okay. So we have one, two, three, four, five, six, seven. Seven areas. And we have 9 suspects. So most of these areas need to have one, at least one suspect. So, okay. Starting with Abigail, she was alone. Okay. And we have Ben. He was southeast of Abigail and northwest of Hawa. Okay. And then we have Carl. He was on a mud puddle. Okay. So he was on a mud puddle. Let's pencil mark those mud puddles. And then we have David. He was alone with Carl. Okay. So currently there are 5 possible places where Carl might be. So we're not gonna mark David yet. We'll see later once we've eliminated some of the other possibilities for Carl. And then we have Edgar. He was beside a tree. Okay. So he can be here or here or here or here. Okay. And then we have France. She was on a mud puddle. Okay, just like Carl. She was on a mud puddle as well. And then we have Grace. She was sitting in a chair. She was exactly 1 row north of France. Okay. So she can be here if France is on this mud puddle, or here if France is here. And she can also be here if France is here or here. So that means France cannot be in this mud puddle on the top row. And then we have Hawa. She was not beside a table. Okay, that's very vague. So, okay, we're not gonna mark that. And then we have the victim, Valentino. He was alone with the murderer, of course. Okay. Let's go back to the other suspects that we have not pencil marked. Um, okay, so we have let's look at David. He was alone. He was alone with Carl. Okay. So let's consider those. So if Carl is here, then he will be somewhere here, right? If Carl is here, he would be somewhere here. Not here, because if Carl is here, same here. Actually, I'm just realizing that. So if Carl is here, David would be in either of these 3 spots. If Carl is here, then David will be on these 3 spots. If Carl is here, there's a lot of places for David to be in the living room. Okay. And if Carl is here, okay, David could be anywhere here if Carl is in the porch. Okay, and we have not marked anyone in the kitchen yet. And every area needs to have at least one person on them. So, Okay, so Abigail, she was alone. I'm thinking maybe Abigail is the one in the kitchen or the bedroom because we have not placed anyone here yet. Okay. Hmm. And I just noticed that we are missing two two cells in the right column and two cells from the left column. That's interesting. Okay. Okay, let's try to look at these again using the general clue. So there was no empty area. So who are the possible people to be in the kitchen? So I said earlier Abigail, right? She can be here. Ben, he was southeast of Abigail and northwest of Hawa. I think we can go back to Ben later once we have a definite maybe spots for Abigail or Hawa. Carl was in a mud puddle, so he cannot be on the kitchen. David, he was alone with Carl, so it's not him. Edgar, he was not him. Not friends, not Grace. Okay, and not Hawa, because there's a kitchen here. I mean, there's a table here and here. So anywhere you go in the kitchen, there's a table there, right? So it's not Hawa. Should we take into consideration the victim here? Could it be the big victim? No, I don't think so. We should not include the victim in this yet. Um, and then the bedroom. There should be someone in the bedroom as well. Okay, could it be Ben? If Abigail is in the kitchen and Ben is southeast of Abigail, then he could be in the bedroom. And then Hawa needs to be, so Ben is northwest of Hawa. But Hawa needs to be somewhere here, right? Okay, we're still very okay. Let's just go back to Ben later. Okay, so let's try to figure out who could be in the bedroom. Actually, Abigail could be in the bedroom as well, right? Because she was alone. That's a very vague clue. It can could be Ben, but we're not sure yet. Carl, David, not Carl, not David, not Edgar, not Franz, and not Grace. Hawa, she was not beside a table. It could be Hawa as well. Hawa could be here, but she will be in these spots, right? Because she's not beside a table. I'm leaning towards Abigail being in the kitchen and then Hawa being in the bedroom. Although for Hawa, I'm not sure yet. Okay, let's look at the other clues. Let's look at the other clues. So Carl is with David and they are alone and Carl is in a mud puddle. So if Carl is here, David would be somewhere here. If Carl is here, David would be somewhere here. Wait. So if Carl is here, That means Franz cannot be here. And then Grace cannot be here anymore. So that would force Grace to be here, either of these two chairs, because Grace is on a chair. So that means, and Carl and David are alone, so Grace cannot be here, if that is the case, right? So I think Carl is not here in the living room. We're going to remove him from there, as well as David, because that's not possible. Yep, that's not possible. Yep, that's not possible. If Carl is here, wait. If 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 Carl is here, then David would be here. If Carl is here, David would be here. And then Franz will be here and Grace here, right? Because if Carl is here, then Franz and then Grace cannot be here anymore. If Carl is here, wait, these are just two rows. These are just two rows. So if Carl is here, then David will occupy this space. Da- David will occupy this space. And then Franz will be forced here. And Grace. Again. So, okay, so if Franz is here, if Franz is here, oh wait. So there's only two rows in the kitchen. If Carl is here, David is here, then there will be no space left in the kitchen for a person. If Franz is here and then Grace is here, same thing, right? The same thing. So I think David is not here as well, or Carl, or Franz in that matter. Cause Franz, okay, wait, no. Yeah. Franz cannot be here and Grace cannot be here as well. Because if Carl is here, David will occupy this row. If Franz is here, Grace will be here. If Franz is here, Grace will be here. Okay. Yep, so not possible. So someone needs to be here in the restroom then. Someone. Okay. Okay, so Franz are left with two options. So Franz could either be here or here. If Franz is here, Grace will be here. If Franz is here, Grace will be here. Okay, so Carl and David cannot be here as well. I think Carl and David are forced in the top two rows, right? Yep, I think that's correct. So I'm going to remove them from here as well. Okay, I think I'm going to locked in Carl at the top row here. And then I'm going to remove Edgar from here because David will be occupying either of these three spots in the second row. So Edgar is forced here. Okay. And someone needs to be in the restroom. Also, someone needs to be here. Okay, so Ben, he was southeast of Abigail and northwest of Hawa. If France is here, then Grace will be here. And then someone will be forced here in the bedroom. But who's going to be in the second row? Okay, so Ben, he was southeast of. Okay, wait. Wait. So we have one, two, three, four, five, six, seven. So we have seven areas and nine suspects. So two areas will have two people on them, and then the rest will have one person each. So one of them is Carl and David, the two-person area. Carl and David. So that's the backyard. And then the other one will be the murderer and the victim. So everyone else will be alone in their area. Okay. Okay, let's go back to this trio, Abigail, Ben, and Hawa. So, okay, so Abigail is alone. Ben, he was southeast of Abigail and northwest of Hawa. Okay, I think Ben is the one in the restroom here. Maybe. So, he is southeast. So, if Abigail is here, then Ben can occupy either of these two. Wait, if Hawa is in the bedroom, Hawa is. So Ben is northwest. Wait, Ben is northwest of Hawa. So maybe Ben is in the bedroom and Hawa is in the restroom. Because Ben is northwest. Oh, no, no. Ben is northwest. Upper left. Okay, if that is the case, then Ben cannot be here if Hawa is in the bedroom. Let me remove Abigail here because I'm thinking that Abigail most likely is here. That's easier for the clues, right? If Ben is here, Abigail is here, Ben is here, which is southeast of Abigail, and northwest of Hawa. Hawa can either be in these three spots, right? Not beside a table. I think that checks out. And then if we do that, yeah, actually I think that's correct. Okay, let me place them there. And if this is wrong, we can undo. Okay. Okay, wait. If we do that, then France will be forced here. And then Grace is here. Okay. Okay, so and then Hawa is here and then David is here. I think that works. And then our victim, Valentino, is here with Grace, and Grace is our killer. Okay, so we have Carl and David together. Carl is in a mud puddle. Abigail is alone. Ben is southeast of Abigail and northwest of Hawa. Grace is on a chair, one row north of France, and France is in a mud puddle. And then Hawa is not beside a table. And then we have Edgar, he was beside a tree. I think that checks out. I'm going to submit it. Okay. Fantastic. Okay, we got it. Well, that's a messy situation. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you liked it, please like and subscribe. I would really appreciate your support, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.